Welcome back. I know, it isn't Minecraft. I'm sorry. Though it's not going to be just the circuit as Garuda again, although I've pointed out that that does work quite well with the way I play this game. I am going to be running the Paradox because, well, I do like these two characters right here. It's not. It's not that I don't find them fun. I definitely find them fun. Ah, the Fusilier throwing cards. And like I got my really good pistols here, and like these are some daggers I'm used to using. I mean, I'm not used to either of these, but you know, I just don't feel like running around just winning constantly with my Garuda. So instead, we will be running the Duvary Paradox, where I can run around and win by other means. Now, I'm not sure which sparrows are which. Uh, Arc Harbor is the Envy Spiral, but it's not Calavera. Sorry if I sound a little off. I've been talking for a long time. I was DMing not too long ago. Why am I recording now if I'm tired from just recording? I wanted to record. Now we can do some feeding of the worm. Who else out here feeding their worm? Just me? Alright. Hey, I don't judge you for feeding your worm on my time. If you wanted to do so, I mean, he's a hungry dude. Doing quite well. My general tip for this is just go to where there are many, and then you'll just farm them up. Ooh, headshot damages. Now we can re-roll the decree. There we go. I just DM'd. It was a good session. RP set up a lot of stuff. For those of you who don't know, I've been DMing in my friend's universe using Star Wars 5e, and I introduced some new races and a new very powerful creature. And my players really enjoyed it. They also didn't really realize that the sort of civil war they were in was actually like really dangerous. Until they realized just how potent their enemy was. I will just kill him before he has the chance to kill me. But now they understand it a little bit better. And I think they really have a good understanding now, which is they're rightfully a little worried, but don't worry, and I don't think you were worried, but don't worry. I'll give them a good way out of the situation. It's going to be winnable. But we've been having a good time. The characters were having a little bit of infighting. It got removed lore-wise. Reduced lore-wise. It doesn't mean that they will never be allowed to infight again, but you know, it is something where anti-party, they weren't being anti-party, but they were a little too conflictual against each other. Ooh, Thrax. Alright. Spin to win. But we've been having... Oh, Majestic Strike. It's game over. But we've been having a good time doing that. I wanted to record something, just sort of chat about. Not really about anything. I just sort of felt like having a good time, but... No, you just got an achievement that reminded me. I never did explain to the non-Warframe viewers. You can headshot with a melee attack. I mean, it makes sense if you hit somebody in the head, but like most games don't have that. This game does. Also, this game has fall damage, so if I jump off this cliff, I'll take fall damage. Well, that wasn't a very big cliff, but okay, there we go. I took fall damage with that jump. I got caught in a rock. This guy is going to jump away because that's what this enemy type does. But with majestic strikes, you can destroy enemies very quickly. Yeah, I mean, all your melee attacks hit twice is a damage doubler. So, why can't I? There we go. These rocks are really annoying. Also, I keep switching to my gun, even though I'm just left-clicking once. Doesn't make much sense. Yeah, I wanted to record, just to have some fun, and I wanted to record Minecraft, but I am a bit tired, and when I record Minecraft, I generally do several things in a row, and I'm in the Aether at the moment. Oh, it's because the pickup is forcing me to go to my pistol for some reason. Now we collect our reward. Yay, color. Ooh, sacrifice half my HP to deal 10% damage per 100 HP I'm losing. That sounds like a deal. One of these owl events. These are pretty easy. Once you know what you're looking for. Okay. Just look at the glowing tomes. And the last one was over there. Yeah, the owl game is fun. It's fun because it's short. And it's free loot. On critical hits. Melee attack speed. But I was saying stuff about the Minecraft thing, right? I like saving the Minecraft for when I'm playing a string of events, and I haven't really had the time to just sit down and record a string of events, but I don't want to just leave a deficit in recording space. I like being consistent and putting out a daily video, and I don't want to just oh, you want to keep your daily consistency, you just upload 5 minutes. Yeah, I could upload 5 minutes of me just saying, hey, I'm not really feeling like recording today. And then not record. Why would anybody want to watch me telling them that I'm not recording today? It just seems like nothing content. Oh, I have seen this objective glitch out before where there was only the one by the entrance, but I'm just betting that this one will have them further in. Yep, there's a second. This isn't exactly a fun one either. Oh, that is it. I thought that was mood lighting. Easy enough. One of my players is running a campaign with his friends. It's based off something he saw on TikTok, which we know is the best place for everything. No, but it's actually a funny concept of they're very new to D&D and they didn't want to make anything, which seems a little awkward, but I mean it's their choice. So they're going for this TikTok idea of amnesia D&D, which is essentially the players don't know what their characters are. So they're just trying to play, but they don't know what they can do. And apparently one of the players believes himself to be a rogue just because he has found out he has a good deck stat. I created a funny little melee sorcerer. I did give them some features, like they're a dwarf with the +1 HP subclass. To prevent things from being overwhelming, we were only to use the original races, so that way they didn't have to realize they were something abnormal. And so also they have what was really funny and was a great touch that I wouldn't have thought to do, is that their DM tells them things about the character, like just generalized physical descriptors, but he left out race because while they don't know what race they are, they're just not thinking. You don't think to tell somebody it's like, hey, how do I look? You don't go, you look like you're half Hispanic. Like everybody would be like, what are you talking about? That's not the way you tell people the description. It's like, well, he's got, how does he look? I mean, yeah, for some people you might be thinking, I absolutely would tell them their skin color if you asked me to describe somebody. Yeah, but it's like, especially if they're racist. Yeah, but he was like, oh, but nobody's really thinking of that. And I mean, I think in reality, if you were truly so amnesia, if you had literally so much amnesia, you couldn't remember anything about yourself, including your race, yeah, you would tell somebody what race they are. But for a D&D like this, telling them oh yeah, you don't know what race you are. I took the daggers. I am Garuda. I should not have taken the daggers. It's a good thing I'm not playing the circuit. I'm just, beating shit up in Paradox, and there just happens to be Garuda gameplay. Did I drop another battery yet? No. Oh, I think that was a battery on this gun. Good job, Teshin. You're the real hero. Hey, Thrax. He's dead. Alright. This extractor isn't going to die in 20 seconds. I'll just start the next one. But he hasn't told them what race they are, which I think is hilarious. I did create a melee sorcerer. It's not like they don't have a good kit. It's just, it's not intuitive. Like, they have Fog Cloud and Witch Bolt, which is a good combination. And they're a Storm Sorcerer. Their entire shtick is the, lightning-based stuff, and, I think it was a real neat creation I made. A very good melee sorcerer. But it's not intuitive. So they have charisma. They've discovered they have good charisma, but they just don't know what to do with that information. Because even if you know, they don't know anything about D&D. They don't even, from what I'm understanding, this player doesn't even know what the classes are. They just, and what stats are used for certain classes. They might know basic things like Bard charisma, but they're not knowledgeable about D&D at all. So they don't know that they're a sorcerer yet. They haven't tried casting spells. They don't have a focus. So I think it's really funny to just, you know. And Storm Sorcerers also have a slightly convoluted feature in their kit, which essentially just states like, oh, hey, yeah, when you cast a first level spell, as a bonus action, you can give yourself a fly speed or something akin to that nature. That an ability that has prerequisites is very difficult to trigger because you don't know what you are, so you don't know to try to trigger something with prerequisites. And honestly, I would rule it as a little bit of metagaming if I was hosting one of those things and my player was just trying out different abilities. Because the whole point is to not know what you're capable of. And apparently the way he's doing things like, oh, but how do I know what subclass to take, is if they haven't discovered what class they are, then he's just going to go back to whichever one of us made that character and ask us. I made a sorcerer, so the answer is simple. I've already given it to them. Well, that's a funny gun. It did nothing to them, but it was funny. Well, Teshin, how about you get out of the cave and you help me with that problem of mine then? Oh shit, I'm gonna kill myself. Oh, never mind. There's an enemy. You know, let's hit you with Dreadmere. Invalid target. You're not target Eximus with Dreadmere? You're definitely targetable with Dreadmere. Oh, you're also not dead. There we go. Some battery power. And a mirror. So I can hold it up to society. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna use it to kill people. But does that say something about society? It really makes you think, doesn't it? So I made a slightly convoluted character knowing that they were slightly convoluted because I thought it would be funny. And I still think it's funny. So apparently they're having a lot of fun, which is good. That is the main... It's always the main priority of a show like that, to have fun. And I probably could have recorded Minecraft if I hopped on earlier after my session, but then I was just gushing over U-Realms Live. The greatest... Truly, and I mean this, the greatest tabletop show to ever bless the internet. I can't rewatch it without becoming a channel member of U-Realms, or Rob, RAWB. But I'm not too concerned. Like, I plan on rewatching them, the U-Realms, because I really did enjoy them. While I'm a college student with a lot on my plate, not really much of an option. But I do plan on, as soon as I am... I do plan on spending the $6 to become a channel member and just watching those again because I had a lot of fun with them. And there's so much organized chaos in there. And it really was like quite a beautifully done show, but I understand it got expensive for him, but man, if money wasn't an object, man, if I had like millions of dollars, I would just funnel it into him and just say, hey, bring it back, please. And I mean, that would be very greedy of me, just force somebody else to do it. But like, I'm sure there was more than just the money thing. But like, you know, I hate that a show I loved got taken down before every ambition could be pursued, you know? Like, obviously it's like, yeah, he also had other things that probably got in the way, like a real life and all sorts of problems like that, that are just like, hey, yeah, He loves making the show, but it's ambitious, it's expensive, it's a lot of things, and you're just like, yeah. But it was so goddamn cool. For those of you who don't know what U Realms is, which probably most of you, shamefully, uh, it was a fun tabletop show held by uh, Rob, who is. How do I get down there? I'll try just flying under the island. It was held by Rob, and the entire purpose was a very chaotic tabletop where the events of the game took place. Like, you would create your character pretty quickly, and then you could just, like, with some RNG built in and some customization built in, you would create your character and then you would create your character, and then you would have access to like the character, and you sorry, I'm distracted. You would create your character on the spot, you get some money for shop things, and you essentially buy whichever like skills you wanted from based off your bank. And you would buy items from your randomly generated shop. Dang it, those guys distracted me. Where's my... They're pointing up this way, okay. But they would create their characters not like on the spot, but like, well, no, essentially on the spot. They would create their characters with what they had available, with a campaign, with like a session 0, where they would build their characters based off of what they had available to them. And then, after that, they would run it in a very well-written campaign that was filled with animations. And the animations were entirely based off of... well, there was a bunch of animations already set. But chat would get to donate to vote on the event. And if enough people donated to a single event, then that event would occur. So, like, if you want to... The classic was summoning the pot puppies, which were puppies that grew in pots. And they were adorable. And chat would donate to spawn them in. And then, you know, the players also would be like, oh my god, there's adorable puppies. And then... but then, you know, it's like chat spawns them in. And then they're like, alright, there's a bunch of puppies being held aloft over a tub of lava. Now the party has to go save those poor innocent puppies. I think a character almost died over some puppies before. But you know, it's funny stuff like that. And you're like, funny, that's brutal. Yeah, it could be at times. And then there was this really cool aspect. Like I loved so many of those characters, man. They were so fun, so well done. And they were all very unique characters. Like, some of them played on classic tropes, but a lot of them really were very unique. Where they were... Some of them were twists on cliches. Some of them just felt like they were cheating. But I mean, when enough characters feel like they're cheating, if they encounter each other, it's then just like, you know... What happens when you have, like, 3 characters, or 2 characters who feel like they're cheating are fighting, you know? Well, it's like, which one will win? Well, neither should win, right? So often it came down to like one of those chat votes. But for the biggest chat votes, the way it worked was we got what was called a divine decision, which came with this big speech. You are the old gods. And then it came down to the speech just sort of went, like, for this moment, you get to decide fate of the world. Like, and the way, so you would get to pick a choice out of two choices, and everybody in chat would vote on which of these two choices. And then one of the events would happen. Is he not dead? What? I thought he was... Jesus Christ. I've learned to dislike this boss. There we go. Yeah. But you would get to make a defined decision. Everybody would put in like essentially a ticket to this raffle. And when you put a ticket into the raffle, it truly was raffle based. And so then a raffle ticket would get picked at random, and whichever point they voted for, that's the outcome that would happen. And so, I mean, mine never got picked, but like, the dream was like, what if yours got picked, you know? And it's like, mine never did. But you know, I still had a lot of fun with those shows, man. They were... Oh, I love that show so much, man. You understand. I would tune in live. Just waste the day away with that, like, super long session. And it's too much chaos that I couldn't organize, so I can't run something akin to that. And my characters aren't as good. Well, some of them are pretty good, but none of them are, like, that good, because my system, I'm just playing in D&D, so my system doesn't come with the ease of just he's being a real prick about this whole thing. I think I got his leg. No, don't do it to me. Thank God I got there in time. That would have been real annoying. But you know, it's like when I say characters are cheating, I mean like, alright, I'll just explain one of my favorites. There's a lot of them, but let's just talk about Bopen. He's my favorite. Of my favorites, I think. There's a lot of them. He's one of my many favorites. And so he is the Skeleton King. So essentially, in this world, there's a group called the Ageless. And the Ageless are a lot like zombies, where they are just... they are very much just like your typical zombies. Where you're just like, oh yeah, they're slow-moving hordes of undead. And they did actually have that effect where if their skull breaks, they die. And then you had your sentient Ageless. And they also had the effect to where if your skull breaks, you die. But they could, you know, make decisions. And then you had like... And they had like this whole place, Deadlantis was what it was called, where they had this underground or underwater city where they could rule. But there's a lot of like particulars there that we don't need to get into. I mean, I am chasing you, Balmastine. was like, you know, ageless that had sentience. But of the ageless, there was a particular ageless who was known as the Skeleton King, and that's Bopen, the Skeleton King. And the reason people followed him so religiously is because Bopen had a special ability. When I say it felt like cheating, it really did feel like cheating. Bopen was an ageless to where if his skull cracked and was broken, his sword would go out on its own, decapitate whoever killed him. We can immediately transfer because I got in through the front. But he would just immediately kill whoever killed him and steal their skull. You're like, wait, doesn't that make him immortal? Yes, exactly. Everybody thought he was immortal because of this. And I say thought, I mean the campaign, the entire show ended. Bopen never fell, or well, never truly died. Now I had a theory, and I guess I might as well tell it because it's my YouTube channel. I can do whatever I want. And my theory was, so in the show, Bopen at one point, it was a very small detail listed at one point, was that Bopen had a ring of some kind at one point. And it was described like once on his ship that he had it, or that it was like rumored he had one. I don't remember the specifics at all. But there was something about Bopen having a ring. And I don't think the shotgun's going to be able to cut it, especially with 21 bullets. I'm going to wait for the arc gun to spawn. But Bopen had like this ring at one point. I think I remember there was a ring. And it was something about this ring is what sparked it for me. So the Aegis were originally created when by the breath of this moon god, essentially, the god that became the moon. So I'll step this back one step further in lore. There were two suns. One sun made the High Bears immortal. The second sun made the elves immortal. And so one day, the moon that made the sun, or the sun that made the elves immortal, withered and fell away. And from this decaying, the elves could now die. And there was chaos in their civilization, and people were using magic to kill. It was a pretty gruesome campaign, honestly, or episode. Well, technically the campaigns are long, so when recorded they come out as like several episodes, but it was actually pretty brutal. It was, I mean brutal doesn't mean bad. In fact, brutal oftentimes means good. But we had this, I'm saying but a lot, I don't mean to. We had the sun that became the moon was sort of responsible for the ageless as well. I don't remember the exact specifics, but it's like his breath, like moon dust also can create ageless. And so that's why it's sort of like, you know, Okay, so the ageless are connected to the moon. I haven't said my theory yet. We'll get there. And so the ageless were created by this moon. And Bopen can create ageless. He can create sentient ageless, I believe. A Kimbo slipshot. That's hilarious. Primary adapter, Forma, Rivens. Nothing I really want to buy. We'll save up those Pathos clamps because I need them. No, I'll get 3 Neurodes. You use these things. I have that resource. Only 6 Mofangs? Yeah, we'll purchase that. American cells are a little pricey. I do use them a lot, but... I might as well take this region. I actually don't mind that region. So yeah, we'll take that for some resource I'm not using. Oh, I also bought several of these because they were cheap, yeah. So my theory, right. So that's sort of the death. So why am I bringing this up? Well, in his art, and I'm not sure if it was ever described, there was a ring around the moon. And so I thought, all right, gamers, what if, just maybe, that is... Because all the dragon aspects had, like, physical forms. So what if, just maybe, this was the god of death's form? Or, well, he became a god of death, but the second son became Bopen. And I mean, he has the powers of a god. He can create sentient ageless, which was a big deal. I mean, let's be honest, boys. He was pretty godly. And if it looks like a god and it smells like a god, actually he didn't look like a god. If he possesses godlike power, godlike constitution, can break the rules of man, and can create the undead better than the god of the undead can, well, gamers, I'd say that's... I'm going to say you've got the god of the dead on your hands. Now, I'm going to check the Duvary room real quick. I believe I can just enter the room. If I go into here, I can go Dormazone. So I had this theory that he was... And they're like, okay, well, he can just do that. It wasn't just that, though. There was a scene, a very funny scene, where Bopen freezes time, and one of the players has to, like, remain perfectly still so that Bopen doesn't know that he is still conscious, and he'll just kill him. Good talk. Oh, can I not buy new weapons from here? Do I have to? Oh, I can enter Duviri still. Yeah, I'll enter Duviri. I just want to see if I can afford the new weapon with Pathos clamps. I wanted the... I know you can afford the cheaper ones for 50, but I wanted one of the 60 ones. So he had this ability to freeze time. So he can freeze time at will, but he keeps that one hidden. What if you're an all-powerful god, and if you're an all-powerful being who's not trying to hide the fact that you're an all-powerful being, you free will this shit. Right? Like, I mean, if you're not pretending like there's less to you than there is, then... Oh, damn, this would have been a pretty... My Limbo Prime that I made to sort of look like Twisted Fate. It doesn't really look like Twisted Fate right there. Oh, but Daygath was an option. Stalker as well. And Daygath looks pretty sick. I'll have time to play Daygath some other time. I'm tired. I'm going to finish off here. But after I finish talking. But you get my point, right? Like... Man, that's a pretty good ability. If you had the ability to resist death, I don't believe this is the right weapon. This, the Argo Vel. Okay, you can do a shield throw with this weapon outside of here. You can use it as like a glaive throw. And I think this thing looks just sick. I mean, come on, can you blame me? But yeah, that's what I thought about Bopen. I thought he was the Dragon of Death, but in a form, because he could stop time and he could create Ageless very flawlessly. And that small ring connection is what clued me into it. And if you're thinking, that's too niche. Nah, he's done stuff like that before. He had some really niche and well done little secrets. And I wanted to, I remember when I was, back when I had thought of this, I was like scouring the wiki and, you know, expecting like, oh, nobody, oh, maybe I was just imagining things. That detail's not really there. But in reality, do I have to make it the Argo and Vel? Yeah, but I can't afford it. It's not very expensive at all. Yeah, but it's just one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, like nobody else discovered. Not nobody else discovered. I was like, nobody wrote this. I'm just imagining things. But no, it might likely happen is somebody heard that he has a ring and went, oh yeah, that doesn't matter though, and didn't put it on the wiki. Also, here's the fat boy. He'll, after I level him up to max, I'm gonna feed him to the Helmuth. If the Helmuth can eat him, getting him is like completing every fucking trial of Beowulf. Anyways, yeah, that's just like, I'm gonna name this video like Bopen was so cool, or Bopen was the god of death. You know what? That's gonna be the name of this video. I'm gonna name this one like Bopen was the Bopen is the god of death.
Ordis wonders, why is he here? Ordis supposes everyone has to be somewhere.
But yeah, that was my deep U-Realms theory. I'm sure I had more. I tried to figure out when I was younger. I was like pulling together links, trying to find all these small details, but never panned out. I love that show, man. You know that feeling when your favorite show ends? Yeah, that's what I was like with U-Realms, but U-Realms had to die off early. It's not like you got that satisfying conclusion, man. I was satisfied by all these cool things that had happened, right? I'm happy, you know, it's the saying, don't be sad that it's gone, be happy that it happened. And I am so happy that it happened. But I'm also upset that it's gone. Anyways, that's going to be the end of the episode. I'm tired, and I'm going to take a shower before bed because I pace when I do D&D, so I walked for several hours. Farewell, gamers. Happy Halloween. You know the rest.